Padre Pio guarded a secret, one known to very few, a 40-day ritual, beginning precisely on January 1st. A ritual possessing a spiritual power that even the Church itself struggles to fully explain. What I'm about to reveal to you today could change not only your year, but also the eternal destiny of souls in purgatory. You might think New Year's is just a time for celebration and resolutions. You might believe the first few days of January are simply a recovery period after the holidays. But Padre Pio saw these first 40 days of the year as the most strategic period in the entire spiritual calendar. Why 40 days? This isn't a coincidence. This number appears again and again in Scripture. Jesus fasted for 40 days in the desert. The Great Flood lasted 40 days and 40 nights. Moses stayed on Mount Sinai for 40 days. Elijah walked for 40 days to the mountain of God. This number carries within it a power of transformation that Padre Pio understood perfectly. In the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly how to perform this 40-day ritual. You'll understand why every prayer spoken during this period reaches the souls in purgatory with tenfold intensity. And you'll receive the precise instructions that Padre Pio gave to his most devoted spiritual children. But be warned, what I'm about to reveal requires a real commitment. 40 days of faithfulness. 40 days without interruption. Because Padre Pio was adamant about this point, interrupting the ritual before it's finished is like planting a seed and pulling it up before it can sprout. San Giovanni Rotondo, January 1951. The Capuchin monastery was still shrouded in winter's calm. Fewer pilgrims visited than in the summer, and Padre Pio used this time to deepen his teachings with his closest spiritual children. One morning after the 5 o'clock Mass, a small group of the faithful remained in the sacristy. They wanted to know how to begin the year in the best possible way. Padre Pio looked at them for a long time, as if he were probing their souls. Then he began to speak in a low but intense voice. He told them, "The first 40 days of the year are like an open window to eternity. During this period, heaven is particularly attentive to the prayers of the faithful. The souls in purgatory wait with renewed hope, and the angels are ready to carry your intentions to the throne of God." One of the faithful, a doctor from near Naples named Joseph, asked why this period was so special. Padre Pio smiled and explained something that has never been officially published, but has been passed down from generation to generation by those who were present that day. He said, "January 1st is the feast of Mary, Mother of God. She is the one who opens the year, and for 40 days, her intercession is particularly powerful. It's as if she's holding the door to heaven ajar, waiting for her children to pass through." Padre Pio continued by explaining that these 40 days symbolically corresponded to the 40 days that Mary spent in purification after the birth of Jesus, before the presentation at the temple. It was a sacred period, a period of preparation, a period where the spiritual and the temporal came together in a unique way. But there was more. Something that Padre Pio whispered only into the ears of the most faithful. During these 40 days, the souls in purgatory can receive extraordinary graces. Every rosary recited, every Mass offered, every sacrifice made during this period has a multiplied value. It's as if God applies a special multiplier to our prayers. Joseph the doctor was skeptical. He asked for proof. And that's when Padre Pio told a story that made him shudder. In January 1947, a woman from a small town near Naples came to see Padre Pio. Her only son had died 2 years earlier, at 23 years old, in a work accident. She was devastated and couldn't find peace. She asked Padre Pio if her son was in heaven or purgatory. Padre Pio closed his eyes for a long moment. When he opened them again, his face was grave. He said, "Your son is in purgatory. He suffers greatly, because he had neglected his spiritual life. But there is hope." He then taught her the 40-day ritual. Every day, from January 1st to February 9th, she had to recite the entire rosary for the soul of her son. Every day, she had to offer a small mortification, a sacrifice, a deprivation. And every day, She had to attend Mass and offer communion for him. The woman did exactly what Padre Pio asked her to do. It wasn't easy. Some days she was sick, some days she was exhausted, some days she doubted, but she persevered. On the 40th day, February 9th, something extraordinary happened. While she was reciting her rosary, she suddenly felt a presence in her room. Then she heard the voice of her son, clear and joyful, who said to her, "Mom, I am free. Thank you. I will wait for you in heaven." She ran to see Padre Pio a few days later. Before she even spoke, the saint said to her, "I know. I saw your son ascend to heaven on February 9th. The 40-day ritual has freed him." This story, passed down by Joseph himself to his descendants, illustrates the extraordinary power of this ritual. 40 days of faithful prayer can liberate a soul from purgatory. 40 days of perseverance can change the eternity of someone you love. But how exactly do you perform this ritual? What are the rules to follow? What are the pitfalls to avoid? That's what I'm going to reveal to you now. Padre Pio's 40-day ritual has 3 essential pillars. The first pillar is daily prayer. The second pillar is daily sacrifice. The third pillar is frequent communion. These 3 pillars must be maintained for 40 consecutive days, from January 1st to February 9th. Let's start with the first pillar, daily prayer. Padre Pio insisted on the Rosary. Not a quick and distracted rosary, but a meditative rosary, prayed with the heart. He said, "The rosary is the chain that binds the earth to heaven. Each bead is a pearl of love that you offer to Mary, and Mary transforms these pearls into graces for the souls." During the 40 days, you must recite at a minimum a complete rosary each day. The 5 mysteries of the day, with specific intentions for the souls you want to help. If you can recite the entire rosary, all 15 traditional mysteries, that's even better. But Padre Pio understood that not everyone has the time for that. The important thing, he said, isn't quantity, but quality. A single, heartfelt, Hail Mary, recited with love, is worth more than 100 recited mechanically. But there's a secret that very few people know. Padre Pio recommended starting each day of these 40 days with a special invocation. Even before reciting the rosary, even before getting out of bed, you must say these words. "Mary, Mother of God, on this new day of the year, 2026, I consecrate to you all my prayers, all my sacrifices, all my actions. Offer them to your Son for the liberation of the souls in purgatory, particularly those who are most abandoned and closest to their deliverance." This invocation, spoken first thing in the morning, orients the entire day toward its spiritual goal. It transforms every moment into a prayer, every action into an offering. Padre Pio recited it himself every morning, and he encouraged all his spiritual children to do the same. Now, let's move on to the second pillar, daily sacrifice. This word might sound scary. We might imagine extreme mortifications, prolonged fasts, ascetic practices reserved for saints. But Padre Pio had a much more accessible vision of sacrifice. He said, "The most powerful sacrifice isn't the one that causes the most suffering, it's the one that is offered with the most love. A small deprivation accepted joyfully is worth more than a great mortification performed with pride." During the 40 days, Padre Pio recommended choosing a small, daily sacrifice, something simple but constant. Giving up sugar in your coffee, skipping dessert, waking up 5 minutes earlier to pray, enduring an annoyance without complaining, forgiving an offense without resentment. The secret is consistency. The same sacrifice, repeated for 40 days, creates a spiritual habit. This habit becomes a force, and this force becomes a permanent prayer for the souls. Padre Pio told the story of an elderly woman from San Giovanni Rotondo who couldn't make great sacrifices because of her fragile health. She simply decided not to complain for 40 days. Every time she felt like groaning, grumbling, or criticizing, she kept silent and offered that silence for the souls in purgatory. After 40 days, this simple practice had transformed her character. She had become gentler, more patient, more serene. And Padre Pio told her that her silent sacrifice had helped to liberate several souls. Now, let's move on to the third pillar, frequent communion. Padre Pio considered the Eucharist as the highest point of spiritual life. He spent hours celebrating Mass, often weeping before the mystery of transubstantiation, and he encouraged all the faithful to receive communion as often as possible. During the 40 days, the ideal would be to receive communion every day. This means attending daily Mass and receiving the body of Christ with the required dispositions. Of course, this isn't possible for everyone. Work, family, various obligations can prevent daily participation in Mass. In that case, Padre Pio recommended at least 3 communions per week during the 40 days, on Sunday, of course, but also at least 2 weekdays. And for the days when you can't receive communion sacramentally, he taught the practice of spiritual communion. Spiritual communion is ardently desiring to receive Jesus in the Eucharist, even when you can't do it physically. It's a prayer from the heart that says, "Jesus, I would like to receive you, but I can't at this moment. Come spiritually into my soul. I love you, and I desire you." Padre Pio recited dozens of spiritual communions every day. He said that each one increased his hunger for God and prepared his soul for the next sacramental communion. During the 40 days, offer each communion, sacramental or spiritual, for the souls in purgatory. Simply say, "Jesus, I offer this communion for the most abandoned soul in purgatory." Or, "I offer you this communion for the soul of my father, my mother, my deceased friend." These 3 pillars in prayer, sacrifice, and communion, sustained for 40 consecutive days, create an extraordinary spiritual dynamic. It's like building a bridge between earth and purgatory, a bridge through which graces can flow abundantly. But Padre Pio also gave warnings, pitfalls to avoid, mistakes that can compromise the entire ritual. The first pitfall is interruption. If you miss one day, the ritual is broken. You must start from the beginning. This may seem severe, but Padre Pio was inflexible on this point. The 40 days must be consecutive, not 39 plus 1, not 20 plus 20, 40 days in a row. There is, however, an exception. If you are seriously ill, hospitalized, or in the absolute physical impossibility of praying, the ritual is not broken. God sees the heart. He knows that you would have wanted to continue. In this case, resume as soon as you can. The second pitfall is pride. Doing this ritual to feel superior to others. To be able to say, "I completed Padre Pio's 40 days." This spiritually toxic attitude cancels all the merits of the ritual. Padre Pio said, "Do good and hide it. Let your left hand not know what your right hand is doing." The third pitfall is discouragement. After a few days, you may feel tired, distracted, without fervor. You may wonder if all this is worth it. This is normal. It's even predictable. Demons hate this ritual and will do everything to discourage you. Padre Pio said, "When you feel nothing, that's the moment to pray the most. That's when your faith is tested. That's when you prove to God that you truly love Him, and not just for the consolations He gives you. Hold on. Persevere. The 40 days will pass, and in the end, you will see the fruits of your faithfulness, Now, let me tell you about what exactly happens in purgatory during these 40 days. Padre Pio spoke about it with a disturbing precision, as if he actually saw what was happening there. And maybe he did, with his extraordinary mystical gifts. The souls in purgatory, he explained, live in a kind of suspended time. They can no longer earn merit for themselves. They can no longer pray effectively for their own liberation. They depend entirely on the prayers of the living. It's like being imprisoned in a cell, with someone else holding the key, during the first 40 days of the year. These souls are particularly receptive to grace. It's as if the doors of their prison become more permeable. The prayers of the living reach them with greater force. The sacrifices offered for them alleviate their suffering more quickly. Padre Pio recounted having seen, during one of his visions, thousands of souls reaching their hands towards heaven at the beginning of each new year. They hoped. They pleaded. They waited for someone on earth to think of them during this blessed time. And among these souls, some were almost free. They needed only a small addition of grace to soar into heaven. A single rosary well recited. A single mass offered for them. A single act of charity done in their name. It is for these souls that the 40-day ritual is particularly effective. Imagine your grandfather who passed away 20 years ago, your childhood friend who died too young, your former teacher who taught you so much. They may be there, in purgatory, waiting for you to do this ritual for them. They are counting on you. Don't disappoint them. But there is something else I must reveal to you. Something Padre Pio kept for the most intimate moments with his spiritual children. The 40 days do not only benefit the souls in purgatory, they transform the person who performs them as well. It's a double effect, a double grace. By praying for others, you sanctify yourself. By freeing souls, you free your own soul from earthly attachments. Padre Pio used to say, "He who prays for the dead prepares his own death. Not that he will die sooner, but that he will be ready when his hour comes. The souls he has liberated will await him on the other side and help him cross over." It's an extraordinary promise. By doing this ritual, you create an army of intercessors in heaven, grateful souls who will pray for you, who will guide you, who will protect you. And when your own passage comes, they will be there to welcome you. A man from a small town near Naples, let's call him Anthony, who had performed the 40-day ritual for 30 consecutive years, told his children on his deathbed that he saw luminous faces around him, faces he did not recognize, but who smiled at him with infinite tenderness. He said, "These are the souls I liberated. They have come to get me." He passed away a few hours later, in complete peace. Now, let me give you the precise calendar for the 40 days for 2026. Because Padre Pio insisted on the importance of dates and times, the ritual begins on January 1st, 2026, the Feast of Mary, Mother of God. It is the most important day of the entire ritual. On that day, you must set a clear and definitive intention. For which soul, or souls, are you doing this ritual? Write their names on a piece of paper. Place that paper before an image of the Virgin Mary and pronounce this consecration, "Mary, Mother of God, on this first day of the year 2026, I entrust to you the following souls," and you read the names. "I pledge to pray for them for 40 consecutive days, accept my poor prayers, and transform them into graces of liberation. Through your all-powerful intercession, shorten their purification, and lead them to heaven." This initial consecration is essential. It gives direction to the entire ritual. Without it, your prayers risk being scattered, losing their focus, their effectiveness. The following days, from January 2nd to February 8th, are days of faithfulness. Each morning, briefly renew your intention. Each day, accomplish the 3 pillars: prayer, sacrifice, communion. Each evening, make a brief examination. Have I been faithful today? Have I prayed with my heart? Have I offered my sacrifice with love? Some days will be more difficult than others. Padre Pio warned that temptations would be particularly strong around the 10th day and around the 25th day. These are critical moments where many give up. Be prepared. Redouble your vigilance And if you feel discouragement overcoming you, recite this prayer that Padre Pio taught. Lord, I am weak, but you are strong. I am tempted to abandon, but you support me. Help me to persevere for the love of the souls who are counting on me. I do not want to disappoint them. I do not want to disappoint you. Give me the grace of faithfulness. The last day, February 9th, 2026, is the day of completion. It is the day you finish the ritual and entrust everything into the hands of God. On that day, after your final rosary of the 40 days, pronounce this concluding prayer. Lord, I have accomplished what you have asked of me. For 40 days, I have prayed. I have sacrificed. I have communed for the souls I have entrusted to you. Now, I entrust everything into your merciful hands. Do according to your will. If these souls deserve liberation, liberate them. If they still need purification, give them the grace to endure their trial with patience, and give me the grace to continue to pray for them beyond these 40 days. This concluding prayer is important because it avoids two pitfalls. The first pitfall would be to believe that you have automatically liberated the souls by your own effort. No, it is God who liberates. You are only an instrument. The second pitfall would be to believe that everything is over after the 40 days. No. Prayer for the departed must continue throughout life. The 40 days are only a moment of particular intensity. Now, let me tell you about some testimonies of people who have practiced this ritual and who have had extraordinary experiences. Let's call her Jennifer. Jennifer from Boston performed the 40-day ritual for the first time in 2019 for the soul of her sister, who had passed away from cancer. She was not particularly devout before that, but grief had pushed her towards faith. The first days were difficult. She did not know how to recite the Rosary very well. She sometimes forgot her daily sacrifice. She doubted the effectiveness of it all, but she persevered. Around the 20th day, something changed. She began to feel a deep peace during her prayers. The face of her sister appeared to her, not as an external vision, but as an interior presence, gentle and reassuring. On the 35th day, she had an extraordinary dream. Her sister was before her, dressed in white, smiling. She said to her, "Thank you. You have helped me more than you know. Keep going. I am praying for you now." Françoise woke up crying, but these weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of joy, tears of relief, tears of gratitude. She knew her sister had been freed, or at least that she was close to liberation. Since that day, Françoise has performed the 40-day ritual every year. She now offers it for other souls, for the most abandoned souls in Purgatory, for those who have no one to pray for them. Another story comes from Michael, an Italian from Boston. Michael was a successful businessman, not really religious, but his mother was very devoted to Padre Pio. When she passed away, Michael decided to do the 40-day ritual in her memory, more to honor her last wishes than out of personal conviction. The first few days were a chore. Michael recited the Rosary mechanically, without putting his heart into it. His daily sacrifice was minimal. He attended church on Sunday, but that was about it. Then, around the 15th day, something happened. During his Rosary, Michael began to cry without knowing why. Abundant, uncontrollable tears. And with those tears, a feeling of repentance for all the years he had neglected God, neglected his faith, neglected his mother. From that day on, the ritual became different. Michael truly prayed. He offered real sacrifices. He attended Mass several times a week. And at the end of the 40 days, he was transformed. Not only had he prayed for his mother's soul, but he had rediscovered his own soul. Today, Michael is a practicing Catholic. He attributes his conversion to the 40-day ritual, and he is convinced that his mother, from heaven, interceded for him while he was praying for her. That's the mystery of the communion of saints. In helping others, we help ourselves. A third story comes from Teresa, a Polish immigrant living in Chicago. Teresa had lost her father when she was 10 years old. She had never really grieved, for years. She carried this wound like an invisible weight. When she discovered the 40-day ritual, something inside her knew it was the answer. She decided to offer it for her father's soul, the man she had barely known, but had never stopped loving. The 40 days were a true healing. Each prayer was like a conversation with her father. Each sacrifice was like a gift she offered him. Each communion was like a silent encounter with him. Through Christ at the end of the 40 days, Teresa felt that something had changed within her. The weight had disappeared. The wound was healed. She didn't know for sure if her father had been released from purgatory, but she knew for sure that their relationship had been restored. They were at peace with each other. These stories illustrate the dual dimension of the 40-day ritual. On one hand, it helps the souls in purgatory. On the other, it transforms those who practice it. It's an exchange of graces, a circulation of love between heaven, purgatory, and earth. Now, I need to address a question that many ask. What happens if I can't do the full 40 days? If my job prevents me from going to Mass, if my health prevents me from fasting, if my family obligations prevent me from praying for long periods? Padre Pio was understanding of human weaknesses. He knew that not everyone can live like a monk. He adapted his advice to each person, based on their abilities and circumstances. If you can't recite the full Rosary every day, recite at least one decade. If you can't attend Mass daily, attend at least 3 times a week. If you can't make a great sacrifice, offer small deprivations. The important thing is consistency and intention. God doesn't look at the quantity of your prayers. He looks at the quality of your heart. One Hail Mary recited with love is worth more than a rosary recited with distraction. Padre Pio told the story of a paralyzed man who could only move his eyes. This man wanted to do the 40-day ritual. But how? He couldn't hold a rosary. He couldn't go to Mass. He couldn't make any physical sacrifices. Padre Pio told him, offer your paralysis. Offer each day of suffering. Offer your very impossibility of praying normally, and in your heart. Recite the prayers that your lips can no longer pronounce. The man did exactly that for 40 days, and Padre Pio affirmed that his ritual had freed more souls than that of many able-bodied people, because his sacrifice was total, absolute, without reservation. This is a lesson for us all. Don't be discouraged if you can't do the ritual perfectly. Do what you can, with what you have it, where you are. God will complete the rest. Now, let me talk to you about what happens after the 40 days. Because the ritual doesn't really stop on February 9th, it extends in a certain way throughout the year. Padre Pio encouraged his spiritual children to maintain a regular prayer for the souls in purgatory after the end of the 40 days. Not necessarily with the same intensity, but with daily consistency. A rosary per week specifically offered for the deceased. A monthly communion for the most abandoned souls. An act of charity from time to time in memory of those who have passed. These practices extend the graces of the 40 days. They maintain the spiritual connection with the souls in purgatory, and they prepare the next cycle, the ritual of the following year. Because yes, the 40-day ritual can be repeated every year, and Padre Pio recommended doing so. Each year, choose one or more souls, each year. Offer your 40 days for them, and over the years, you will build an army of intercessors in heaven. A multitude of grateful souls who will pray for you. Imagine, after 20 years of this ritual, you would have potentially contributed to the liberation of 20 souls, maybe more. 20 souls who will be waiting for you in heaven. 20 souls who will intercede for you every day. 20 souls who will accompany you in your own passage to eternity. It's an extraordinary spiritual investment, a placement in the bank of heaven that yields eternal interest. And now, allow me to offer you some practical advice for successfully completing your 40-day ritual in 2026. First, prepare before January the 1st. Obtain a blessed rosary. Choose the souls for whom you will pray. Write their names on a piece of paper. Decide now what sacrifice you'll offer each day. Plan your weekly masses. The more prepared you are, the easier it will be to begin. Secondly, create a prayer space. A corner in your bedroom where you can gather yourself every day. A picture of the Virgin Mary. A candle that you'll light during your prayers. A cushion for kneeling. This place will become sacred over the days. Thirdly, choose a set time for your daily prayer. In the morning upon waking. In the evening before sleep. During your lunch break. It doesn't matter when, as long as it's regular. Regularity creates habit. Habit creates faithfulness. Fourthly, find a companion for the journey. Someone who's doing the same ritual as you are. You can encourage each other on difficult days. You can share your experiences. You can pray for one another. Padre Pio used to say, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am in the midst of them." Fifthly, keep a spiritual journal. Each evening, write a few lines about your day. How did your prayer go? Did you encounter any difficulties? Did you receive any special graces? This journal will become a precious testimony of your spiritual journey. Sixthly, and this is perhaps the most important, don't get discouraged if you don't feel anything. Spiritual consolations are not guaranteed. Many saints have gone through dark nights, periods of dryness where God seemed absent. This doesn't mean that your prayers are ineffective. On the contrary, it's often in these moments of dryness that faith is the purest, the most meritorious. I'm now going to conclude with a reflection that Padre Pio often shared with those who committed themselves to the 40-day ritual. He would say, "One day, it will be your turn. One day, you may be in purgatory, waiting for someone to pray for you. On that day, you will understand the value of every prayer you offered for others. You will understand why this ritual is so important, and you will be eternally grateful for having been generous. This is the spiritual law of reciprocity. What you give, you receive. What you sow, you reap. The souls you liberate today will pray for you tomorrow. The graces you obtain for others will be returned to you 100-fold. Padre Pio lived this law every day. He prayed constantly for the souls in purgatory, and in return, these souls prayed for him, helped him in his spiritual battles, comforted him in his sufferings. You too can experience this communion of saints. You too can enter into this circle of love that unites heaven, purgatory, and earth. All it takes is to begin. All it takes is to take the first step. All it takes is to say yes. On January 1st, 2026, when you kneel for the first time before the image of Mary, you'll enter into an extraordinary spiritual adventure. For 40 days, you will be a bridge between two worlds, and for 40 days, you will be an instrument of divine mercy. For 40 days, you will change someone's eternity. Isn't that worth a little effort? Isn't that worth 40 days of your life? If this video has touched you, if you plan to do the 40-day ritual, comment below. Team, I'm starting on January 1st, or team, I prefer to wait. Also, share how many consecutive days you've already prayed for a soul. Your testimonials encourage others to persevere in faith. And if you want to support this ministry of spreading the teachings of Padre Pio, the Super Thanks button is available. Your support allows us to continue sharing these spiritual treasures with the world. Every contribution is a prayer made material. I wish you a holy 40-day ritual. May Padre Pio accompany you. May the Virgin Mary protect you, and may the souls in purgatory benefit from your generosity. See you on January 1st, 2026. The 40 days begin.